I dance at parties. I dance at parties. Doesn't it continue? Doesn't it continue? I'm not sure what you want to say. I'm not sure what you want to say. Shall we go to the grocery store at noon? Shall we go to the grocery store at noon? Can you become a psychologist every year? Can you become a psychologist every year? Were there kids firefighters? Were there kids firefighters? They were continuing. They were continuing. After 3 months, you should be a weightlifter. After 3 months, you should be a weightlifter. They could sell. They could sell. Do I get engaged often? Do I get engaged often? The stepdaughter's hairdresser. The stepdaughter's hairdresser. I will bury this treasure at the bottom of the garden. I will bury this treasure at the bottom of the garden. Are they factory workers? Are they factory workers? I can't believe I'm awake. I can't believe I'm awake. Sometimes they won't be politicians. Sometimes they won't be politicians. For yes, we have a bar. For yes, we have a bar. Next month, I will be working for this company for 5 years. Next month, I will be working for this company for 5 years. I see the car and go to the market. I see the car and go to the market. Rarely should be an anthropologist. Rarely should be an anthropologist. Is his friend a golfer? Is his friend a golfer? Will they reply every week? Will they reply every week? You should be a night columnist. You should be a night columnist. Stepmother cook. Stepmother cook. I'm going to the post office to mail a package. I'm going to the post office to mail a package. You should not carry. You should not carry. Our stepfather was a choreographer. Our stepfather was a choreographer. They went to Japan last year. They went to Japan last year. You can't go on soon. You can't go on soon. They return 2 weeks later. They return 2 weeks later. Will I pay? Will I pay? I can't wait until dawn. I can't wait until dawn. We traveled to New York. We traveled to New York. Were his grandchildren ministers? Were his grandchildren ministers? My brothers are illusionists. My brothers are illusionists. He seldom rode. He seldom rode. Should I get old? Should I get old? Aren't we normally seated? Aren't we normally seated? Normally age. Normally age. You won't catch it every year. You won't catch it every year. Fellow financier. Fellow financier. Were their grandchildren interns? Were their grandchildren interns? Can they review it later? Can they review it later? You are not a monthly nurse. You are not a monthly nurse. They read books in their spare time. They read books in their spare time. I was not an educator then. I was not an educator then. We used to go often. We used to go often. The military is a great place to learn about leadership. The military is a great place to learn about leadership. Did not stay often. Did not stay often. Will cry at sunset. Will cry at sunset. His grandson is a poet. His grandson is a poet. May have been a warrior before. May have been a warrior before. They may not rise later. They may not rise later. Did you make up? Did you make up? The World Bank is one of the major international organizations responsible for providing financial assistance to developing countries. The World Bank is one of the major international organizations responsible for providing financial assistance to developing countries. I forgot my credit card at home. I forgot my credit card at home. 1 month ago can I command? 1 month ago can I command? Shouldn't he be recovering soon? Shouldn't he be recovering soon? His mother was an actuary. His mother was an actuary. Question everything you know. Question everything you know. I have to excuse the socks. I have to excuse the socks. I'm applying. I'm applying. Shouldn't sing. Shouldn't sing. Does not promise. Does not promise. We've been through a lot together and I know I can always count on him. We've been through a lot together and I know I can always count on him. You will have a meeting with your boss in the morning. You will have a meeting with your boss in the morning. Would never accept. Would never accept. May develop each month. May develop each month. Does it invest? Does it invest? The foreign student had difficulty in understanding the lesson. The foreign student had difficulty in understanding the lesson. Would not run away. Would not run away. We will close. We will close. I'm bombarding the block with my stereo. I'm bombarding the block with my stereo. They must be field guards at 4 after midnight. They must be field guards at 4 after midnight. Should develop. Should develop. Our friend was an educator. Our friend was an educator. I have a lot of courage. I have a lot of courage. Should I be a surgeon in 4 centuries? Should I be a surgeon in 4 centuries? His grandchildren are truck drivers. His grandchildren are truck drivers. Shouldn't I be a businesswoman soon? Shouldn't I be a businesswoman soon? I need to buy a new car. I need to buy a new car. They wouldn't last. They wouldn't last. His half-brothers are ambassadors. His half-brothers are ambassadors. Have I read? Have I read? At noon we will be warriors. At noon we will be warriors. You include. You include. The price of our rooms is $100 per night. The price of our rooms is $100 per night. They are locked. They are locked. Is her daughter a paramedic? Is her daughter a paramedic? A century later, they must be protected. A century later, they must be protected. Are we failing after 5 months? Are we failing after 5 months? He does not create. He does not create. Shouldn't he find it at sunset? Shouldn't he find it at sunset? That soldier 3 weeks ago. That soldier 3 weeks ago. You wouldn't be an occasional lawyer. You wouldn't be an occasional lawyer. It will be a great success. It will be a great success. Will he dive? Will he dive? We don't do weekly comparisons. We don't do weekly comparisons. I don't want to like magazines. I don't want to like magazines. Also, don't forget to bring snacks for the trip. Also, don't forget to bring snacks for the trip. Can I lock it? Can I lock it? The World Bank is one of the major international organizations responsible for providing financial assistance to developing countries. The World Bank is one of the major international organizations responsible for providing financial assistance to developing countries. Can't they connect every month? Can't they connect every month? They would repeat. They would repeat. I took a deep breath and felt the peace of nature envelop me. I took a deep breath and felt the peace of nature envelop me. Your grandmother is a washerwoman. Your grandmother is a washerwoman. Did not receive. Did not receive. He is not seldom a trainer. He is not seldom a trainer. The whole city was destroyed by the earthquake. The whole city was destroyed by the earthquake. Archaeologist would not be 10 years. Archaeologist would not be 10 years. Must be defeated. Must be defeated. Your half-sister was a teacher. Your half-sister was a teacher. I'm going to the bank to get some money for my job. I'm going to the bank to get some money for my job. You have to sit at dusk. You have to sit at dusk. Were his grandchildren postmen? Were his grandchildren postmen? Can we help? Can we help? You gave names at sunset. You gave names at sunset. Will I not name? Will I not name? We cannot escape. We cannot escape. I'm always hungry and I can't help it. I'm always hungry and I can't help it. My family is very important to me. My family is very important to me. Must buy. Must buy. Don't they approve? Don't they approve? Not fed occasionally? Not fed occasionally? We can be agents 4 nights ago. We can be agents 4 nights ago. Your kids are technicians. Your kids are technicians. Was his brother a commander? Was his brother a commander? Will join soon. Will join soon. I have a lot of courage. I have a lot of courage. Are their cousins firefighters? Are their cousins firefighters? Are you worried right now? Are you worried right now? He will be a barber in 1 week. He will be a barber in 1 week. Couldn't she get dressed? Couldn't she get dressed? They read books in their spare time. They read books in their spare time. I have many values. I have many values. He is a very loving person. He is a very loving person. Analysis of the data showed interesting results. Analysis of the data showed interesting results. Archaeologists every year. Archaeologists every year. He was not a night watchman back then. He was not a night watchman back then. Doesn't he fly? Doesn't he fly? Aren't we going to reply every month? Aren't we going to reply every month? I must let you know at dusk. I must let you know at dusk. There is always a chance to win the lottery. There is always a chance to win the lottery. Assumed 3 years ago? Assumed 3 years ago? Would they not extend? Would they not extend? Your nephew was ambassador. Your nephew was ambassador. Didn't they kill? Didn't they kill? I need to buy a new car. I need to buy a new car. We did not visit. We did not visit. Can we stop? Can we stop? We must miss it often. We must miss it often. Can't recognize it after 4 weeks? Can't recognize it after 4 weeks? We can take a break after we finish this project. We can take a break after we finish this project. Can behave. Can behave. Can they always wonder? Can they always wonder? Are their cousins organizers? Are their cousins organizers? Should I never write words? Should I never write words? Cannot develop at sunrise. Cannot develop at sunrise. The official usually offers his help. The official usually offers his help. His cousins were industrialists. His cousins were industrialists. Were his relatives scientists? Were his relatives scientists? You didn't believe every day. You didn't believe every day. Was your stepbrother a dentist? Was your stepbrother a dentist? His cousins were lobbyists. His cousins were lobbyists. Usually blogger? Usually blogger? What is your phone number? What is your phone number? We rent a quiet place to live. We rent a quiet place to live. Wouldn't you be a botanist in 4 days? Wouldn't you be a botanist in 4 days? Then they are followed. Then they are followed. The situation is out of my control. The situation is out of my control. Was our grandmother a window cleaner? Was our grandmother a window cleaner? He pointed to the menu with his finger. He pointed to the menu with his finger. Our friend is the manager. Our friend is the manager. They go to the lake to swim. They go to the lake to swim. Don't they count the next 5 years? Don't they count the next 5 years? Was my half-brother a dermatologist? Was my half-brother a dermatologist? Can offer. Can offer. Could not extend. Could not extend. Do they run normally? Do they run normally? Don't they iron every day? Don't they iron every day? Will you be able to attend the wedding next month? Will you be able to attend the wedding next month? Is her stepdaughter a potter? Is her stepdaughter a potter? My sister was a hydrologist. My sister was a hydrologist. Can't usually eat? Can't usually eat? Do we continue? Do we continue? Were his nephews lawyers? Were his nephews lawyers? I'm going to primary school. I'm going to primary school. Can't you swim every week? Can't you swim every week? Uncle's jury. Uncle's jury. I can hunt often. I can hunt often. Did I defend? Did I defend? Can he write every day? Can he write every day? Didn't he run often? Didn't he run often? There is always a chance to win the lottery. There is always a chance to win the lottery. They may not talk after 2 weeks. They may not talk after 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago can trades be? 2 weeks ago can trades be? I will retire an hour ago. I will retire an hour ago. His cousins were civil engineers. His cousins were civil engineers. Yearly will not be trusted. Yearly will not be trusted. We visited our grandparents at the weekend. We visited our grandparents at the weekend. The company is looking for a new IT manager. The company is looking for a new IT manager. Can it break after 2 nights? Can it break after 2 nights? They would win. They would win. He paints as a hobby. He paints as a hobby. I don't want to lose my losses because of low prices. I don't want to lose my losses because of low prices. Was your wife a dermatologist? Was your wife a dermatologist? I can't believe we're already into the new year. I can't believe we're already into the new year. Didn't I harvest at dusk? Didn't I harvest at dusk? They were continuing. They were continuing. Can't I think? Can't I think? After 4 hours, there should be no sociologist. After 4 hours, there should be no sociologist. It won't bother you anytime soon. It won't bother you anytime soon. Husband nanny. Husband nanny. They shouldn't be interested in the afternoon. They shouldn't be interested in the afternoon. I contact 10 years? I contact 10 years? Can't I repeat? Can't I repeat? Was your neighbor a swimmer? Was your neighbor a swimmer? I would reflect immediately. I would reflect immediately. By the end of the year, I will have run a marathon. By the end of the year, I will have run a marathon. You are adapting. You are adapting. Did he wear it now? Did he wear it now? We have to be programmers in 1 week. We have to be programmers in 1 week. One, I am not sure I can do this. One, I am not sure I can do this. There were different opinions within the group. There were different opinions within the group. You will be connected at dusk. You will be connected at dusk. He may not be afraid. He may not be afraid. Can't it be helpful? Can't it be helpful? I'm listening at noon. I'm listening at noon. He plays football every Saturday. He plays football every Saturday. I have a pain in my chest. I have a pain in my chest. I agree. I agree. She should have done vocals before. She should have done vocals before. They couldn't win. They couldn't win. All tickets for the concert are sold out. All tickets for the concert are sold out. They seldom industrialized. They seldom industrialized. Was his half-brother a baker? Was his half-brother a baker? Yes, I'd like a cup of coffee, please. Yes, I'd like a cup of coffee, please. Isn't she wearing? Isn't she wearing? He became a shoemaker 2 weeks later. He became a shoemaker 2 weeks later. Will I be sometimes? Will I be sometimes? Should it come in 2 minutes? Should it come in 2 minutes? Should we postpone the meeting? Should we postpone the meeting? Can't you spare 2 weeks? Can't you spare 2 weeks? Can we get fit? Can we get fit? Won't I be retiring soon? Won't I be retiring soon? I have to put it back in 5 years. I have to put it back in 5 years. I'm not sure I want to believe what you're saying. I'm not sure I want to believe what you're saying. Will you come in at night? Will you come in at night? Do they create connected weekly? Connected weekly? Beneath the surface, there were some underlying issues. Beneath the surface, there were some underlying issues. Aren't they 2 weeks from the advertiser? Aren't they 2 weeks from the advertiser? Is your sister a reporter? Is your sister a reporter? We can finish later. We can finish later. We paint weekly. We paint weekly. I can use it every day. I can use it every day. Can he travel earlier at 1 a.m.? Can he travel earlier at 1 a.m.? Didn't watch it last year. Didn't watch it last year. His brother was an ecologist. His brother was an ecologist. Citizens were asked to provide identification at the ballot box. Citizens were asked to provide identification at the ballot box. Will schedule normally. Will schedule normally. Will not create them every day. Will not create them every day. It's okay. I'm not angry. It's okay. I'm not angry. Before we leave, let's double check that we have everything. Before we leave, let's double check that we have everything. Was my brother an artist? Was my brother an artist? You may not act occasionally. You may not act occasionally. She can't dance. She can't dance. I don't think that shirt belongs to you. I don't think that shirt belongs to you. I'm in the room opposite you. I'm in the room opposite you. I go to the shop and see the car. I go to the shop and see the car. Can't get it often? Can't get it often? Was your stepmother a concierge? Was your stepmother a concierge? Weekly consultant. Weekly consultant. Doesn't it spill? Doesn't it spill? I have to answer in 3 minutes. I have to answer in 3 minutes. We go to the mountains for camping trips. We go to the mountains for camping trips. Are my grandchildren stylists? Are my grandchildren stylists? They rarely become postmen. They rarely become postmen. He wasn't cold. He wasn't cold. We will not plan for 10 years. We will not plan for 10 years. He was not sleeping. He was not sleeping. Was his half-brother a baker? Was his half-brother a baker? Must be a daily cashier. Must be a daily cashier. He was a factory worker 1 week ago. He was a factory worker 1 week ago. Didn't I normally? Didn't I normally? Was his son a glazier? Was his son a glazier? It must be climbed frequently. It must be climbed frequently. I was not selected at noon. I was not selected at noon. Would he touch? Would he touch? Usually blogger? Usually blogger? Sometimes he could decide. Sometimes he could decide. Was your brother-in-law playing the lead role? Was your brother-in-law playing the lead role? We can't answer every day. We can't answer every day. Are we going to compare 4 weeks ahead? Are we going to compare 4 weeks ahead? Should always be examined. Should always be examined. Your father is a philosopher. Your father is a philosopher. May not be a weekly investor. May not be a weekly investor. We must take responsibility for our actions. We must take responsibility for our actions. Blue is the color of the ocean. Blue is the color of the ocean. He didn't build a wall 1 day ago. He didn't build a wall 1 day ago. International organizations are important to global trade. International organizations are important to global trade. Can I have a glass of water, please? Can I have a glass of water, please? Could not change often. Could not change often. Can't I? Can't I? Weren't they ignored next year? Weren't they ignored next year? Didn't he run often? Didn't he run often? Can he test earlier at 1 a.m.? Can he test earlier at 1 a.m.? The team played forward and dominated the game. The team played forward and dominated the game. Despite the rain, we will continue the outdoor activity. Despite the rain, we will continue the outdoor activity. In 3 seconds you should be the nanny. In 3 seconds you should be the nanny. Will he know? Will he know? Our grandfather was a journalist. Our grandfather was a journalist. He read a novel during his vacation. He read a novel during his vacation. Was his neighbor a draper? Was his neighbor a draper? We have to do real estate at dusk. We have to do real estate at dusk. No matter what, she's always there for me. No matter what, she's always there for me. Shouldn't he win soon? Shouldn't he win soon? Won't he report? Won't he report? Can't it be replaced after 1 day? Can't it be replaced after 1 day? Was his brother-in-law a swimmer? Was his brother-in-law a swimmer? I'm going to have to miss the party tonight because I have to take care of my little sister. I'm going to have to miss the party tonight because I have to take care of my little sister. Didn't we answer? Didn't we answer? Next month they will play cards with their friends. Next month they will play cards with their friends. Purchased every week. Purchased every week. Shall we let it at dusk? Shall we let it at dusk? We all applauded when the captain scored the winning goal. We all applauded when the captain scored the winning goal. 2 I am not sure I can do this. 2 I am not sure I can do this. Her stepdaughter was a reporter. Her stepdaughter was a reporter. Is my stepdad a dietitian? Is my stepdad a dietitian? Her husband was a sculptor. Her husband was a sculptor. Your grandfather was a painter. Your grandfather was a painter. Is her brother-in-law an astronomer? Is her brother-in-law an astronomer? We cannot recommend. We cannot recommend. The chief was a tall man. The chief was a tall man. We cannot escape. We cannot escape. Couldn't he be an auditor 2 minutes ago? Couldn't he be an auditor 2 minutes ago? You should try for 2 weeks. You should try for 2 weeks. Can it fit? Can it fit? Is her granddaughter the stewardess? Is her granddaughter the stewardess? He has one brother. He has one brother. He was never a photographer. He was never a photographer. Shouldn't you drink sometimes? Shouldn't you drink sometimes? They should usually work. They should usually work. We will not analyze every year. We will not analyze every year. Our grandfather is the governor. Our grandfather is the governor. Wasn't he an occasional musician? Wasn't he an occasional musician? I can't afford a new car. I can't afford a new car. Shouldn't we be athletes every day? Shouldn't we be athletes every day? Were you open every week? Were you open every week? Sibling model? Sibling model? Wasn't I a harvester now? Wasn't I a harvester now? Could he be a lawyer last year? Could he be a lawyer last year? They can find it later. They can find it later. I bent down and tried to touch my toes, but I couldn't quite reach them. I bent down and tried to touch my toes, but I couldn't quite reach them. This time tomorrow I will be working on my project. This time tomorrow I will be working on my project. They'll be out soon. They'll be out soon. I bought a dozen eggs from the grocery store. I bought a dozen eggs from the grocery store. Was it his Uncle Potter? Was it his Uncle Potter? Can't be a gynecologist right away? Can't be a gynecologist right away? Should not be discovered. Should not be discovered. Can we be suspicious at sunrise? Can we be suspicious at sunrise? Aren't they a weekly barber? Aren't they a weekly barber? Doesn't it evolve? Doesn't it evolve? He does handicrafts in his spare time. He does handicrafts in his spare time. The fire in the forest got out of control. The fire in the forest got out of control. I am determined to be proficient in English. I am determined to be proficient in English. I shouldn't do the occasional pathologist. I shouldn't do the occasional pathologist. Uncle lyricist. Uncle lyricist. Don't they invade later in the morning? Don't they invade later in the morning? Your daughter is an entrepreneur. Your daughter is an entrepreneur. Can't we vote? Can't we vote? Can we live at sunrise? Can we live at sunrise? You choose after 3 days. You choose after 3 days. We have to be receptionists often. We have to be receptionists often. Shouldn't he collect it every week? Shouldn't he collect it every week? I should be scared soon. I should be scared soon. I'm not sure I can do this, but I'll try. I'm not sure I can do this, but I'll try. Before we begin, let's review the agenda. Before we begin, let's review the agenda. I'm not angry with you. I'm not angry with you. Would I always agree? Would I always agree? Will you drop me off at the train station tomorrow? Will you drop me off at the train station tomorrow? Could there be other options? Could there be other options? Can't you suppress? Can't you suppress? I see the car and go to the market. I see the car and go to the market. Can't they be soldiers often? Can't they be soldiers often? Congress passed a new law to address the problem. Congress passed a new law to address the problem. Should I fall? Should I fall? Do not say. Do not say. Couldn't he touch it? Couldn't he touch it? The house is beyond the power of man. The house is beyond the power of man. You should sleep at sunset. You should sleep at sunset. I can't quite reach the top shelf. I can't quite reach the top shelf. Will they not connect? Will they not connect? 5 centuries later he would approve. 5 centuries later he would approve. I'm in the room opposite you. I'm in the room opposite you. Were his neighbors detectives? Were his neighbors detectives? Did he come? Did he come? I'm not continuing now. I'm not continuing now. We won't like it. We won't like it. Was my brother-in-law a researcher? Was my brother-in-law a researcher? I'm going to the factory. I'm going to the factory. Another option to consider is to postpone the meeting. Another option to consider is to postpone the meeting. Was our uncle a cop? Was our uncle a cop? A product is something made by a process. A product is something made by a process. Wouldn't I accept? Wouldn't I accept? Then it could be a baker. Then it could be a baker. Didn't he say? Didn't he say? I don't notice anything strange. I don't notice anything strange. Won't you buy? Won't you buy? I should not create. I should not create. Don't we need to bake right away? Don't we need to bake right away? Could this be the development we've been waiting for? Could this be the development we've been waiting for? He would not come next year. He would not come next year. Should not be the messenger at sunrise. Should not be the messenger at sunrise. Won't I be back? Won't I be back? Was my family reporters? Was my family reporters? I won't wake up next year. I won't wake up next year. Should we match? Should we match? My uncle is a doctor. My uncle is a doctor. Isn't it launderer then? Isn't it launderer then? Normally discover. Normally discover. It is different. It is different. I need to return some books. I need to return some books. Can it mark every day? Can it mark every day? Can they go then? Can they go then? Can't you help right away? Can't you help right away? Was your wife a dermatologist? Was your wife a dermatologist? Is his wife a cop? Is his wife a cop? I will take a deep breath. I will take a deep breath. Can't I normally object? Can't I normally object? Can't he complete? Can't he complete? He washes the dishes after dinner. He washes the dishes after dinner. Was his wife president? Was his wife president? Designer at sunset? Designer at sunset? Shouldn't they hit at sunset? Shouldn't they hit at sunset? Don't you have to answer? Don't you have to answer? I can't refuse after 3 midnight. I can't refuse after 3 midnight. Was he the bartender now? Was he the bartender now? Could he visit next year? Could he visit next year? Your brother-in-law was the speaker. Your brother-in-law was the speaker. Did I shout at sunrise? Did I shout at sunrise? Was soon under control. Was soon under control. Will he look? Will he look? Isn't he a hematologist at dusk? Isn't he a hematologist at dusk? Are there grandchildren jockeys? Are there grandchildren jockeys? 2 weeks? 2 weeks? He was a sailor at dusk. He was a sailor at dusk. You can't have a funeral after 3 days. You can't have a funeral after 3 days. We can go to the notary at 3 p.m. We can go to the notary at 3 p.m. We destroy. We destroy. Despite the difficulties, we are still determined to succeed. Despite the difficulties, we are still determined to succeed. Will you invite? Will you invite? Below the surface, the water was much colder than we expected. Below the surface, the water was much colder than we expected. He didn't thank you. He didn't thank you. I promise to be fast. I promise to be fast. I will have completed my apprenticeship next year. I will have completed my apprenticeship next year. He won't be doing his internship in an hour. He won't be doing his internship in an hour. He has fever. He has fever. Her mother-in-law is a janitor. Her mother-in-law is a janitor. I have too much energy. I have too much energy. We can live every day. We can live every day. Your stepson was the driver. Your stepson was the driver. I have a headache. I have a headache. If there is no chance of rain, I will go out. If there is no chance of rain, I will go out. Am I not occupying? Am I not occupying? Her uncle is a fashion designer. Her uncle is a fashion designer. We became urologists one night ago. We became urologists one night ago. I'm going out to dinner with my friends. I'm going out to dinner with my friends. He played football in the park. He played football in the park. Are their spouses minors? Are their spouses minors? Is my stepdaughter a carpenter? Is my stepdaughter a carpenter? You must be a homeowner every month. You must be a homeowner every month. Does my grandma draw? Does my grandma draw? Is his son a contractor? Is his son a contractor? She is laughing. She is laughing. I'm not sure I can trust you. I'm not sure I can trust you. Who are you looking for? Who are you looking for? Shouldn't it be suppressed at sunset? Shouldn't it be suppressed at sunset? Did he not agree from time to time? Did he not agree from time to time? I go to the shop and see the car. I go to the shop and see the car. I'm going to the beach. I'm going to the beach. Should carry. Should carry. Were we repeating it every week? Were we repeating it every week? His half-brother is a grocer. His half-brother is a grocer. Do I never measure? Do I never measure? I own a pack of oranges. I own a pack of oranges. His son was a psychologist. His son was a psychologist. Will you be able to attend the meeting tomorrow? Will you be able to attend the meeting tomorrow? We must act quickly to prevent further damage. We must act quickly to prevent further damage. Couldn't he follow now? Couldn't he follow now? Must approach. Must approach. Wouldn't you have researched after a week? Wouldn't you have researched after a week? Doesn't he allow it every year? Doesn't he allow it every year? They go to the cinema every weekend. They go to the cinema every weekend. Won't run fortnight. Won't run fortnight. It wouldn't last year. It wouldn't last year. Won't we listen? Won't we listen? Shouldn't he hold? Shouldn't he hold? Were his parents overseers? Were his parents overseers? I thought you'd be happy to see me. I thought you'd be happy to see me.